by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
Yeah, you listen to the sounds of DJ Fourth Quarter in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby.
Driving home and you're feeling kinda tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day, so you need a little switch in your life.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening and happy new year. Welcome back to Let's Gripe. We have enjoyed our winter break and we are now back. And it's good just to be back in the studio, virtually that is. And happy 2022. I mean, oh my goodness, it's halfway through the month of January, but welcome back everybody. Hey, Tonia.
Hey, McKenna. Happy New Year, everyone. Marcus is unable to be with us tonight, so you'll see him next Wednesday. But shout out, Marcus, you know, he's on the other end listening. However, oh, McKenna, like you said, is the 19th day of the year already.
Yes, it's like it was, all I remember was Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, MLK, and now here we are at 19 days in. So I feel like we have a lot of just catching up to do, just getting us back to the 2022 year. 2022 is like, even having to say it out loud is still a little tongue twister.
It is. Well, hey, Carolyn, thanks for tuning in. Yes, I do, right? I know. I mean, come on. It's a new year. So, you know, letting the hair grow back in. So, you know that mid-growth, you know how you have to do it. You kind of let it do its own thing before you can kind of really like have it all swinging like McKenna, but her hairstyle looking good like always. So, but yes, guys, we have missed a whole lot. We missed telling you guys Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa. But you know what? Glad that we all made it over. Very happy that we made it over.
And we just want to offer our condolences. We know that there were people who lost loved ones over this season. There have been celebrities that have passed on. I saw today where another person that's celebrity status has passed on. And so we just really want to express our heartfelt condolences and prayers to those of our listeners who were personally or indirectly touched by the loss of a loved one over this season. And so we just keep you in our thoughts. And it's just a reminder to love on the people while they're here, because we never know when someone is going to leave us. So be mindful of how you hang up the phone, of how you slam a door, of how we forget to send that text message to reach out to somebody, because we just never know. So it's just, for me, a good reminder to tell people that I appreciate them, that I'm thinking about them, that I've enjoyed whatever time that we've spent together, and I wish them health and prosperity in this new year.
Well, McKenna, you said it perfectly. A lot of times we do take things and people for granted. And I've never seen or heard of so much loss. And every year we think it would get better. And it seems like it doesn't. So what I'm saying is that you just have to live your life to the fullest. And what you enjoy or what you love. Just do it. Don't wait.
And in addition, people have these bucket lists. When I retire, I want to do that. No, do those things along the way. People wait to retirement to do things that, for the most part, most of those things we can do along the way. So if you want to bungee jump or skydive or go on a cabin trip or start a business or, do a makeover to your home, work on some of those things today so that you can enjoy, like you said, every day, make a memory, have something to be thankful for every day. Plan to do something in the future. Sometimes things don't happen because we don't plan for them to happen. We think about them. Okay, so that's a thought. But then what are those steps that we actually are taking to make that thought a reality? So I challenge myself to do the same thing every year at the top of the year. I re-challenge myself to reconnect and engage and, find opportunities to spread positive energy, good vibes, and, be that person that I encourage other people to be.
Exactly. So of course, this year is one of my milestone birthday, and I'm excited. I'm planning it, and I'm going through whatever, no stops. So I was speaking to one of my girlfriend a couple of weeks ago, and she said, so I said, oh my gosh. I said, my budget is out the door. She was like, no, you don't have a budget. This is about you. And I don't know why she said that, because I really believe her. And it's like no holds bar.
She said what she said, and then you thought about it like, well, this is about me, and this is my milestone. And yeah, I can't take it with me anyways. So,
yep. I think the family is going to be a little disappointed when they go to the bank account or they go to the save. But $2.
We got groceries, right? So, got a bottle of water, toilet paper.
I mean, but it's one of those things that we so plan for the future. We do. We all do. And it's logic that we do. But however, sometimes,
as Antar would say, however,
sometimes we got to do it today because we just don't know about tomorrow.
Just don't know. I'm so excited for you.
So excited. So as it get down towards it, we're gonna talk about it and just get crunk for you guys know how I am when it comes to my birthday. Yes, that's my birthday. I'm trying to figure out or wonder, did they shut it down when my mother was giving birth to me? Because I wouldn't see why not. I'm just saying. Y'all know me. Just like they shut Atlanta down for some flurries.
Okay, so
let's talk about that, please.
Let's talk about winter.
Please, let's talk about it.
Do you remember we went from spring to winter within 1 week? How literally one day the ceiling fan was on and then 2 days later it was cold as winter. And we're like, wait, just 2 days ago I had to turn that ceiling fan on because I got warm. And now today it's winter. So
and turning the faucet on to let it drip because we don't want it to freeze.
Yes. So we know that we live in the South, and we know that this is the kind of weather that we have that, some people call it bipolar weather. There's different phrases for it, but literally it was a sharp turn at the end of the street where we went from a nice day to a cold day. And we really haven't, today was mild, but we really haven't recovered back to where we want to be yet. So I'm looking at the calendar, it's the 19th. So I'm hoping by March 19th, spring will be tipping on the door and we'll be talking about allergy season, right? You're on mute. Yeah,
that part right there.
It'll be like, we'll blink twice and all of a sudden it'll be like, did you take your Claritin? Because the pollen out there is ridiculous. Don't park under a tree because it's going to get you. We'll be having that same conversation. But I was excited to see the flurries and to be able to look out the window. It didn't stick where I live, but it was really nice to kind of look out the window and watch those flurries come down. And then just watch the news where, places in North Georgia got about 1 inch to 2 inches in some places, and some places got a little bit more depending on how far north in Georgia you were. So, the kids up there, didn't get to go to school the next day because it wasn't safe to be out on the street. So I think that we still get excited down here in the South when we get a little flurry. You know, I mean, it makes national news. People call you, are you okay up there? Yeah, we got a flurry. I'm fine. So,
especially when people from up north, and they're like, really? You guys really shut the whole state down because of some
flurries.
flurries?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how
They
we
need to
do
shut it down for some rains and thunderstorms too, because I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So we know that Marcus is not here, but McKenna. Do we have any updates on the football? How we go? Well, what about the Georgia team?
Oh, go Dogs.
Yeah.
Go Dogs.
We got Atlanta got two.
I mean, we got they got baseball and golf. I mean, you know, something has shifted out there in the atmosphere. You know, people have theories about what it is, but something has shifted out there in the atmosphere. So I was very excited for all of the Georgia Bulldog fans. I stayed up and watched most of that game. I did kind of fall asleep towards the end, but I did stay up and watch most of it. And so it was a really good game, and I was really excited that they won. And I did catch a little bit of the celebration. They showed some of that on TV all day, so I did catch a little bit of that celebration. And people had on all kind of Georgia Bulldogs paraphernalia, and there was a parade, and the stadium was full. And you know, they showed that trophy, and different people spoke. So it was really an joyous occasion. You know, another opportunity for people to come together and celebrate. You know, I think that, you know, when we peel back some of the layers, we're more alike than we are different. Of course, we have our differences, but there are things that bring people together. I would say music is one, because anytime you hear a good song, no matter where you are, you will see different people just stop and respond to it. So music is one of those things that, in my opinion, unite people. And sports is another thing. Any major sporting event, when you peruse that crowd, you have all denominations, ages, socioeconomic groups that are go Dogs or whatever that particular team is. So sports is another thing that kind of unites us, you know, here in America. And so we saw that with the Braves, how Atlanta and Cobb County came together.
Exactly.
United, and, you know, they paid homage to the history of the Atlanta Braves, and as they bridged the gap to this, you know, new expansion and home of the Atlanta Braves, and really emphasize that it's still the Atlanta Braves. They just, you know, moved across the street, so to speak, but it's still the heart of Atlanta and represent the metro area. And so, yeah, lots of things going on in sports. These playoff games are exciting. And there's 2 games on Saturday and 2 games on Sunday. So I'm sure when Marcus gets back next week, he'll give us some more play-by-play. There was some controversy with Antonio Brown when he took off his shirt and walked off the field, and they say he quit and he said he was fired. And so more of that story came out, but lots been going on in sports. Even the NBA is not without a few scandals, you know, conversation about the Lakers and how, you know, folks aren't really feeling LeBron anymore, and just different things are happening. So if you're a sports fan, feel free to post the comments so we can chime in on your particular interest.
Thanks for that update, McKenna. See, that's what I can do. I can always count on you when it comes to the sports. I gotta say that. But listen, have you been keeping up? You know, I'm the one that usually do the Instagram stuff. So did you hear about Tasha K and Cardi B? You know, they're in court. Cardi B took Tasha K to court. So just a little rundown, you know, Tasha K, she got a little, I think a podcast and Facebook. So for her, so she told some lies. She was saying that Cardi B had herpes and what she did when she was a stripper, et cetera, et cetera. So of course, you know, Cardi B took her to court. She admitted that she lied just to get followers. Defamation. So now Cardi B suing her. You know she don't need that money, but you about to lose everything you worked so hard for.
For your 15 minutes of attention. You got your 15 minutes now. But this is how people get on the map. I mean, this is how think about Kim Kardashian and how she got her start, or something scandalous. And so we know that we live in a culture where people pay attention to things that are sensationalized. We like gossip, we like mess, we're a messy culture, and people thrive. I mean, there are numerous platforms and television and reality shows that are built on being messy, and being more messy. And some of the mess is scripted for entertainment purposes, so it's not really real. And we know that people, post things on social media that aren't real. What's interesting to me is that Cardi B actually clapped back, so to speak, and said, you know what? I had enough of your trolling and I'm about to take you to court. Because there are many people that say lies and have blogs and spread misinformation that celebrities just dismiss, overlook, and don't really pay any attention to. So I haven't followed the story that closely, but I did read a little bit about it. So I'm interested in what happened that Cardi B decided to pursue this. And then I also wondered when I read that Cardi B, she reported that she, had a lot of anxiety about this and she got semi-depressed. I was wondering if that was acting or did she really take what people were saying about her on social media to heart? Like, is she really this sensitive person on the inside and she's not necessarily the person that we see her portray herself to be in her songs and in her videos?
You got a point there, but you know what? When it comes, I think maybe the STD part, probably that was something, and she probably had to prove to her husband. That was something that she probably had to actually have to address. The other stuff, oh, you mess with a rich man to do this. Okay, all right. People do what they got to do to get ahead. But I think maybe when it comes to that, I think, that could be something that drew the line. Or, you know what? You're not going to get rich on my name by defaming my character. I think probably that could have been it. And I was having a conversation with someone today, and I said, we do our show as our opinion, but we're not going to lie on nobody. We're not going to make up a story just to get followers and listeners. Some people are busy. We have our listeners and our followers, but sometimes they cannot tune in every week, and we get it. And they do. Some of them have said, I went back and listened to the show. So again, that's okay. But to be, what you call that, evil, just to get listeners and followers, that's not cool. So sometimes the celebrities, they do have to take, really stiff actions. And when it comes to their lawyers, come on, you can't handle their lawyers.
You don't have the weight that she has. I mean, didn't she give her husband like $1 million last year for his birthday or something? Like, it was something she gave him. So this, what's her name? Tasha
K.
Tasha K. I don't think she has Cardi B money. I could be wrong.
I no, she doesn't, because Cardi, some of the celebrities who've been in the game don't have Cardi B money. And what I did learn about her recently, she is not even just, because she haven't been touring really, but she has been getting these endorsements. She's been endorsed by Playboy. They got her a jet. So she is working her name. She's like, listen, because these new rappers come up, we know how it is when it comes to age and all that. So, we know you got to move to the side like Nicki Minaj, Rihanna. But guess what? She making some steps. So I got to give her that.
Yeah, and that's what you're supposed to do, because we know how the industry, we've talked about this before, how the artists don't really make the money from their record sales. They might make $1 a record. And so once you get your name up and your followers up and your reputation up, that's when you can spring and actually go out here and market yourself and do commercial. I mean, people are doing commercials and being endorsed by different products, and this is how they're actually making their money. And then they'll go back and make another record because that's what they enjoy. That's their passion. They enjoy the music. They enjoy the culture of hip hop. And, so I wouldn't be surprised if she collaborates with maybe somebody she hasn't collaborated with. But Rihanna is a great example of, listen, I did music because music was what I enjoyed and what I loved. But I used that to go out here and create a dynasty, a kingdom, an empire of, multiple streams of income for herself. And she told her fans, listen, I'll get back to this music, but I'm over here chasing this other paper right now that's actually paying me. Music, it got my weight up a little bit, and it put me in a position to use that resource and the buy-in from other people to support me in this other venture, which was her makeup and her lingerie line and things like that. And so I think that, artists who are ambitious and who are paying attention to what's happened in the industry and surround themselves with good, solid financial advisors and people who are not trying to exploit them for their money and keep them, broke, they break away and they say, okay, where else can I make some money? And they have these agents that say, okay, somebody's shooting a commercial over here. Why don't you go ahead and interview for that commercial? Somebody has this investment opportunity. Why don't you partner with so-and-so and invest in such and such? And we're seeing more of that. I mean, even as recently as a few weeks ago, there are, and I can't think of the two rappers' names, but they have partnered together for some digital MKFT. I'm not real familiar with what it is, but it's some, well, I have to come back to that. But if anybody knows what I'm speaking on, please chime in, because the thought just escaped me. But I just say that to say that I am proud to see more African-American artists and athletes coming together to create wealth for the people coming behind them. So now that they have reached this level and they have a couple of extra millions tucked away and they have a platform and they have followers and they have influence, they're now taking that money and pulling it together to create wealth for the community and for the culture. So I really am happy to see more of our athletes and our artists stepping out and doing that and being public about it, because it's one thing to do it in the dark and nobody knows that it's happening, but to come out and say, this is what we're doing. We're merging our monies together to form this bank or to form this corporation or to form this entity. And this is how we're about to make some money. Follow us so you can see what's happening. And if you want to join us, participate in this. And they're exposing other people to how money really is made out here in this corporate life.
Yes. And you made a good point, because a lot of times before everyone, okay, so it says like MC Light, she broke up and now she's coming back in the game. Okay, Carolyn, and owning her own masters. Exactly. And I think they have learned from James Brown and even Prince. It's best to own your masters and your catalogs. Those are the things that they weren't taught before, but they're learning. Thanks for that, Carolyn. And thanks for tuning in, Carolyn. And also, I saw your post. So you saying I was born on a Friday in that year? Okay, I'm gonna check it out. All right. So again, you guys, you listening, please share and like. Let your friends know they could go to either thepowerhouseradio.com, also /YouTube. We're here. So share. Let your friends know about the Powerhouse Radio. We have different programs come on. Let's Gripe come on Wednesday, 7 to 8. And then on Thursday, we have Reasoning Thursday, and that's at 8, and that's with Lady D and Mama Acid. There's a lineup, and next week I'm going to have that all, so we can definitely let you guys know about the other shows.
So real quick, we did celebrate Martin Luther King holiday on Monday, so we do certainly want to pause to acknowledge that cause and hope that you had an opportunity to either reflect on the civil rights movement, listen to, part of the service that came on TV. His speech was played on different, radio outlets. And so hopefully, it was an opportunity for us to kind of just push that pause button and reflect on the progress that America has made. And then remembering that there's still a fight out here that needs to continue, because we're still not being treated equal. And we still are being judged by the color of our skin and not the content of our character. And there are still people in places who devalue us just because of how we look. And so Let us not forget that people united, they marched, they peacefully protested so that we could have rights like, being able to work at certain establishments. I mean, we've never seen a white only restroom sign. I mean, we've seen pictures of it, but we didn't grow up in that era. There weren't water fountains when I went to high school that said, whites only. But when my mother went to high school, there were. And so, we're just a generation and a half or two away from these things. And so we don't want to get so far removed that we forget that without the struggle, there would not have been any progress. And we have to commit to participating in keeping that momentum going, and whatever that looks like for us, whether you want to donate to a cause or you want to, host a conversation, or you actually want to go out and march and protest. But there are ways for us to stay involved and actively engaged and not forget, that we are here because people sacrificed. Even when Sidney Poitier, he was another celebrity who passed away, it was interesting to hear Denzel Washington share about how he respected him so much, and he, admired him because Sidney really paved the way for more Black male actors to have a diverse amount of roles and to play different types of characters that portrayed Black men as Black men. And so, we respect Denzel because he's our era, but Sidney Poitier, came before Denzel and paved that way for him. And so it was really reverent to see, him just acknowledge the impact that he had, not just on the industry, but he was also instrumental in the civil rights movement as well, because he was intelligent and articulate, and he demanded that they treat him as just a man because that's what made sense to him. He was from the Bahamas, I believe. And so when he came to the U.S. and the South, he was perplexed about the treatment of African Americans. It didn't make sense to him. It wasn't part of his experience until he came to the U.S. And so he was able to bring just a flat, even toned experience to say, you're asking me all these, he did an interview and they're asking him all these questions. He was like, you're asking me all these questions, but you really could be asking me things about who I am as a person and the interests and the hobbies that I have. And, you want to minimize me into this little box, but I'm more than just this little box of, an African man in America who's an actor. There's so much more to me than that. And so, he just had a way with his words. And so I really admired some of the reflections that they did. And it made me think I need to go back and watch some of his movies, because most of them I haven't seen. I've heard about them, but I'm going to take some time to go back and watch some of his movies.
And I agree. And it is Bahamas that he's from. Ooh, yes, he's a Bahamian. Yeah. So again, you guys, you know how I am. Yes. So again, it also, and those are the footsteps we should follow. Instead of crying about they're holding us back, because we Black, we cannot get certain loans. We can't buy certain things. And, you go into a certain neighborhood, they look at you a certain way. But it also, we have to have that standard where, just don't look at my skin color, because we know since the whole Trump era, a lot of people has came out the woodwork and they don't care. So a lot of times when they see you, I saw a clip of a lady, her and another young black lady. I think they were in T-Mobile, and something happened, and the Black young lady was going in front, and she was like, "I was here first." So she kept on talking. So the person in the store was like, "What's going on?" And she was like, "These Black don't know how to act." And before she can get that out of her mouth, you just saw a fist went in her mouth. And these young Black women are not playing. The older ones might be like, "Yo, you better stop." But these young ones, they said, "Catch these hands.
Catch them." Catch them.
So yeah, don't judge me by my skin color.
Put some respect on my name. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Put some respect
so
on
because you have a disagreement, you calling me out of my name. So that just shows how you really feel. You are being who you are. You are being truthful to who you are. So it just comes out just easily. What? I probably would have, yeah. Yeah, I know me. I be saying too much. But it's real talk. So I try not to get in any kind of disagreement with the opposite race because I don't know if I have the patience for it. But also, besides Martin Luther King, besides the snow that we supposedly was about to have, what else? So far for January.
So I did read where Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa have separated. Something about that hurt my feelings. I was like, oh, they were so cute.
You know which other one hurt my feelings?
Who?
Megan and the pastor. Megan Good.
Oh.
And the pastor.
Okay. So we can talk about both of those. So Megan Good and the pastor we can talk about first, and then we'll circle back to Lisa and her husband. I mean, they were together, what, 9 years, Megan and the pastor?
I think it almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. They had this wholesome relationship. I remember, years ago, she was practicing abstinence, and she met this pastor, and she talked about how she wanted to change her image, and how she just wanted to, blah blah blah. And so they seemed happily ever after. So, and they came out with this really nice, savory public statement that, we're going to let each other be free, and, the love will still be there, but we're going to go our separate ways. Wonk, 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 wonk. So inquiring minds will have to speculate. So Tonia, please speculate on what happened in this situation, since we don't have any facts. This is our speculation on what's happening behind
it. It's just our opinions. We're not saying this was what happened. But I think she couldn't be herself. I believe that. And let me tell you why I say that. Because like you said, how everything started, and even with movies, some movies she's able to play to a certain degree. And I saw she was at a game a few nights ago, and she had on a sweatshirt. On the back, it says, "Miss Good, if you're nasty." I had to lean back on that one. So what that tells you, I just believe that she couldn't be herself there.
And she got suffocated and couldn't breathe anymore and needed to be free of it.
Probably had to turn down a lot of movies, a lot of sitcom, just a lot of things, even maybe commercials. We just don't know, because we know that other things can play a factor in it, but
I think you have a point there, because I say something like, we take us everywhere we go. So whether you go to New York, or you go to the Bahamas, or you go to New Orleans, or if you left here and went to California, or if you went to Russia, you would take Tonia with you. And because that's who you are. So no matter where you go, you take you with you. And sometimes we go in these situations, and it must be challenging to be an actress because you're always in a character. So I wonder if there's this actors and actresses, they seem like these complex individuals. And I wonder and they always are trying different things, whether it's meditation or yoga or some new variety of herbs. They're always trying something different. And I wonder if that's because they're just such complex people that play all these different characters, that it's hard for them to really center and know who they really are, because they have to cry on a dime, memorize a line, be in a role, smile, nod, sign autographs, be friendly. There's this projection that's always happening. So to your point of she wasn't really able to be who she was, maybe this was a safe place to be in a certain part of your life where you need safety and you need security and you need to feel protected from our own demons or those things that are haunting us. And after you heal from your wounds, then you're ready to kind of go back to being just the better version of yourself, but not the sheltered version of yourself. So I wonder if those are some things that kind of happened. And now it's Miss Good if you're nasty.
That's showing. I'm back. That's what I got from it.
And
I'm
even
back.
the new show that she is starring in, have you watched it? It's called Harlem. I think it's called Harlem. I only watched like an episode and a half and I kind of rolled my eyes, but it's kind of like a Sex and the City type show. And she plays one of those characters that she's like a professor. And then it looks like in the beginning of episode 1 that she's going to have an affair with one of her students. So I was like, oh, okay, I see you. I see you, Miss Good. Doing the nasty with the student. I see you. I'm not judging you. I'm just, I see you over here acting. This is because this
Right.
is
So who knows? I just believe. I just believe that's what it is. I just believe that. But really and truly, when you cannot be yourself, it's not going to work.
I will say that I do appreciate the amicable split in public. Like there is something to be said that, we're going to agree to put out a statement because we know that, we're a public figure and we want to get ahead of the rumors and the gossip mill and present a peaceful exit where we don't sling mud towards each other. Like that's the mature way to do things. We know that it doesn't always happen that way, but I do respect that. And to me, that's how people should end relationships civilly. Even if we're struggling in private, let's be mature enough to present in public just a united dissolving of this relationship where the public knows that for various reasons, us staying together is not what's going to happen. And we're going to split peacefully and allow each other to be free and, enjoy the rest of their lives and find happiness again with someone else. Like that's just so Hollywood and so mature. So, we can learn from that piece.
Well, we wish them the best in the directions that they may go. But, just to speak in general, it starts with us individually in order to take two to make one. So that's a very important thing that we have to practice in today's time.
And people do fall out of love, like it happens. People wake up and I've talked about this, I had a family member who did it. He woke up one day and he was like, yeah, I don't love my wife anymore. And we were all like, what? He told you what? What did he tell you? He was like, we're like, huh? So, yeah. So people do grow apart, people change, and sometimes the change takes them out of their relationship because they've changed too much that it's difficult for the other person to meet them where they're going. Because if we're going in different directions and we don't have those things in common and those core values aren't enough to keep us together, and that word love, is powerful and as strong as it is, sometimes love doesn't bring you home. Sometimes love doesn't, the absence of love, doesn't keep us united. And then sometimes people can stay committed even though they've fallen out of love because you hear people who have been married 50 years say, yeah, there were some times in there where I didn't love him. I can honestly say that I didn't love him, but I was committed to the marriage. And, after a time, we grew back together. Like whatever that patch was, whether it was infidelity or whether it was alcohol or whether it was, immaturity, whatever that thing was, where that one person fell out of love with the other, they stayed. And now it's 6-7 years later, it's just the memory. Yeah, I remember I don't remember exactly all what it was, but we were going through X, Y, and Z. And but now we're here, and I wouldn't trade him for the world. So that's a tough one. We wish him well. We absolutely wish them well, and maybe we'll get some more tea later. So
I will keep you posted on that one.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next one.
Lisa and Jason, 17 years in, cutest couple ever. From what I read, Lisa said Jason was working too much. And he was out here in this Hollywood life, and she was missing him. And he was working about 2 or 3 years consecutive, and she just couldn't take it anymore. But my thing is, if you don't have any small children in the household, because their baby's grown. Do they have a child together? No, her child is from
Lenny.
Her child is by Lenny.
Yes.
So so I don't think they have any children then, do they?
No.
Okay.
No.
So my thing is, if your child is grown and your husband is working, and you can hop on a plane and be on set, we can be together. Like, I know what this life looks like because I grew up in this life. I know what acting is all about. I have other friends who are still current actors. Maybe I don't act anymore because I wanted to be a wife and have this life. But if my husband is going to Hawaii to film Aquaman, I too am going to Hawaii to hang out, not necessarily on the set, but hang out in Hawaii while he's working. And I'll meet him back at the trainer. Like, what's the schedule for? Just email me your schedule. I'm not hovering. I'll see you when you get back. Let me know what you need when you get back. I'm going to Hawaii, right? If your next role takes you to Europe for 6 months, I might not go to Europe for 6 months, but definitely fly up there for 1 week a month, right? I'll see you the first week in February, first week in March, first week in April. Make some time. We're going to map out what we're going to do when I get there. And I'm going to Europe because I know that number two, not even number one, number two, him staying employed adds revenue. It adds income to our household. Like, I read an article maybe last year before last, about how when they got together, she kind of stopped acting and he struggled to get roles so that he could support his family. Like, that was something that was important to him, that he was able to maintain employment out here in this rough Hollywood industry and get small roles so that he could stay relevant and bring in income. And then once he did Aquaman, it really opened him back up to, we were like, oh yeah, and he's done Netflix movies, he's done all kinds of things. So I take issue with that being the primary reason. Now, I get it, we're all speculating, there could be other reasons, but I think that, and I get that sacrifice is a two-way street. I get that. Everybody has to sacrifice it sometimes. So we're not putting it all on Lisa. Maybe Lisa was feeling like she was the only one sacrificing. Maybe she wanted to go back to work and he was constantly working. I don't know, but it just sounds like find something to do while he's working.
I would have a friend that hangs with me. Come on. We can go hang out on Harvey set. And while he's working that, we could go on the tour of that country, that city. But come on. Or that family member, somebody. So that's not a good enough reason. I think a lot of people, though, are so quick because it's so easy to say, I'm done. Do you know how many husband and wife out there that wish that one of them could bring in a good income? I mean, I'm just saying, just a good income. Aquaman?
He made some Netflix movies. He was in something else. He's shooting something else. And we know how this Hollywood life cycle works. You might work real well for 3 years and it'll be dry for 3 more. So you better work, stack. Because 15 minutes from now, there'll be another young fella coming up that's as fine as Jason, who will be the next hot actor, and the roles that Jason would get no longer, they don't want him anymore. They want him to play an old grandfather or something. We know how it works. It comes and it ebbs and it flows. So he's hot right now. Let him be hot. Why he's hot?
You know how much DMs he probably has received in that first 10 minutes.
Girls, listen. There are matchmakers out there saying, go shoot your shot. Actresses, I'm going to shoot my shot. Musicians, I'm going to shoot my shot. He is a hot commodity right here. Go on
17. Ooh-wee.
Oh,
She looked like she kind of not wrapped a little tight anyway.
I mean, we didn't just meet her either.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
we rocks with her because she's Lisa, you know.
yeah. A little screw, just need a little tightening. I mean, but that right there.
So, okay.
I cannot be myself for a minute.
Tonya, who's the hotter commodity right now, him or her?
She look older than him, number one.
We're just having a conversation. We're just talking out loud. Who's getting more messages in the DM right now, him or her?
They had to shut his page down. I'm just saying. Unless you had came down and saying he was knocking your head on the wall.
Okay. Had a baby.
And as fine as he is, he ain't got no skills in the B room.
That wasn't it. That 17
then
years
maybe I'll be like, okay, all right, I got it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But what you saying?
Even if he had a lightweight affair and a baby, to me that this happens. Like it.
But like I said, the two major things.
Okay.
But throwing her head in the wall, we don't go for that. That's out the door. Yeah, run as far as you can run. And you know, some women, you know, you got to be at least 8, 7 in the room. Okay, I could be like, another 17 years of that. But you already went 17 already anyway.
Right. So.
Yeah, she probably just need to find herself. That's all.
But how another journey, another meditation walk, like what else can we do to find ourselves? I'm just asking for a friend. Like, if you don't know me by now, I'm talking to myself. Like if I don't know myself by now, I'm talking about me. Like if I don't know who McKenna is by
you gotta be
now.
right there. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You got to go back to you because you got to be right with you in order to be right with everybody else.
Okay, so Kardashian and this Pete fella.
This is like a mini show of J-Lo and everybody.
Okay, we've seen this already. We've seen this movie already. Yeah, this
remind me of the junior. This is the junior size.
So, do we see any longevity in this, or do we feel like by summer it'll fizzle itself out?
Probably not by summer, but just like Demi and Bruce.
Okay.
Not Bruce. What's his name? Young guy.
Krishna or something.
Yes. But do you see that she was having her daughter Chicago birthday, 4th birthday. I think it was Sunday or Saturday. And Kanye went to Instagram and he was like, you know, they won't give him the address to the birthday party. And he's not going to let anyone, have the narrative for it. What do you think about that?
I think that he spiraled out of control just like she knew he would. Because we know that women will constrict access when they don't feel like being bothered with you. And so she's got a whole, I hate to use the word plan, but she has the Kardashian clan to insulate her. And she very well could throw a whole birthday party and not invite him. And he found out by word of mouth because, it's Hollywood. So the who's who of people who have 4 and 5 year olds in celebrity and music were invited, and he was deliberately not invited. And so we know that this would spiral him out of control. And so this would be another example for her to show why he is not fit to be around their children. Like this was strategic.
She did a whole 2 pregnancy and then did a whole 2 surrogate. At not one point, the first, the second one, we didn't see that then. I'm just saying.
She had a mentor, her mother. Her mother mentored her on this. And so she got her 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, she got her 4. She can say she has, so she technically doesn't have to have any more kids unless she meets somebody that is more wealthier or more influential than Kanye. Then she may do what her mother did and have a second set, 6 or 7 years from now, be a surrogate or however. Surrogate is fine.
Mm-hmm. So piggying back, Miss Butterfly just said that with Lisa, this is her second failed marriage, and both of them was fine. Yeah, for real.
Mm.
Yeah, screws ain't in tight. That's all.
It'll be interesting to see if she marries again and what she'll be attracted to this time. I'm just saying, marriage is part of how people do in Hollywood.
She probably just need to do an older man, maybe that's what because I mean, to be honest with you, she has aged as she was getting up there in age. She aged very, very fast. Mm-hmm. So to pull these type of person,
she could have a makeover, like if she wanted to come out and have a whole new image. Mm-hmm. She could go and have a makeover and reinvent herself and come back and have a t-shirt that says Miss Lisa if you has to.
Okay, she need to sit down and have a conversation with Megan. They probably do.
And sit down with Jada. Lord. But anyway, she could sit down with Jada.
Jada probably could school them on a few things. Honey, listen, just move on the other side of the house.
Right. Like nobody said. So you have to.
What you mean? When he out of town, girl, all you do, you just have a little friend. A little entanglement, maybe.
And then after that, you come on back together. So, okay, so two more real quick because we're going to run out of time. So we're going to move on to talk shows. So I had an opportunity to see the Nick Cannon show, the Steve Harvey Judge show, and I heard that Wendy Williams isn't doing well and may not return to her show. So have you seen Steve Harvey's Judge show? Have you seen the Nick Cannon show? And have you heard anything about Wendy and if she's coming back to her show?
Well, apparently her show is still going on, but of course she's been having those guest hosts. And they're saying that Sherry Shepherd she's one of the most famous and gets a lot of ratings when she hosts. So who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if they still keep the name of the show and probably have a permanent host. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Sherry. But Wendy is having health issues, but I think it's more here. I think she has to really come to grips with everything because what she was used to, that norm is no longer there. She was trying to push through, and I get it. So she probably needed to do this a while back, but she only did a few months and, she was still popping and all that stuff. So I think it's more of not a physical, I believe that is a part of it, physical health, but I also believe it's a lot to do with the mental part of it. So Nick Cannon show, I did just seen a clip of it when he made the announcement that he lost his 5-month-old due to brain cancer. That was sad. And that's something that we could talk about all day long. Is it something? Imagine losing a child that young. I could imagine, but I've not actually watched his show. Steve Harvey, Judge Harvey, I'm not interested. I'm not.
Listen, it gets honorable mention, right? I watched, I think, an episode and a half, and I mean, he's just, it's funny, it's humor, it's Steve Harvey. You know, he found another opportunity to make some more money and stay relevant. So on that front, you know, and he does some cool things on his show, like whatever the argument was. Okay, so here was the case. Me and you have been dating for 22 years, 20 years. We have 3 children together, and you refuse to marry me. So I'm suing you for a bachelorette not party. I want to have this bachelorette, even though I'm not getting married party. So I'm going to sue you for $4,000. And so he countersues her for $2,000 because what happened was when they were 19 or 20, he went off to the military and he gave her this promise ring and said, when I get back from the military, we're going to get married. So he stayed 3 or 4 years. She waited for him. He came back. They had a baby. They moved in together. They built this life. They had 2 more kids. They have a business. They have 2 houses, but he's never actually married her. And so he told Steve Harvey that and she used to play, I want to say softball. So she took her ring off and tied it to like her shoestring and went to play softball. And when she came back, it was gone. So he bought a metal detector and went out there and looked for it. They never found it. So he was suing her for losing the ring and the metal detector that he bought to go look for this ring. And he took that as a sign to say, well, maybe, you know, we shouldn't get married. But now they are 20 years in. They live together. They have 3 kids. They have a business and 2 houses, 2 properties. And he just feels like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Steve said, he called him the dumbest man in America. You know, what more can this woman do to prove to her, you know, that she's loyal and she wants to be with you? And so he said, ma'am, I'm going to award you these $5,000 and give you $2,000 or $3,000 more so you and your girls can go have this good time, because that's the least he could do since he's not going to marry you. And if I could order him to marry you, I would marry you. So these are some of the cases on the show. I see the look.
Oh, that's cute.
So he gave her some extra scratch. And I was like, and then he comes down on the floor and, you know, he talks to them. So, you know, Steve Harvey is being Steve Harvey. And the show was kind of funny, but it's not something that I would watch like every week. But again, I just admire Steve. He finds ways to stay relevant. He always has jokes. He's funny. He's just an entertainer. And whether you agree with all of the things and his positions, you can see that he has matured and evolved over the years. And if nothing else, you know, we respect Steve Harvey for being a good entertainer and keeping us laughing. If nothing else, you're going to have a good laugh when you watch Steve Harvey. So I just take it for that. But it's definitely not a show I will watch on a regular basis.
Oh, okay. Okay. See, I knew I wasn't missing nothing. But you know how this evil Wi-Fi. I said, no, you're not. We're not doing this year like this. We're not going to do this. You know, I'm just saying, evil. Just evil. But you know what, guys? We know that you have a busy schedule and you have options. So we do thank you, Carolyn, Miss Butterfly, and even the silent ones. Thank you so much for tuning in, even just to come in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or the whole hour. Thank you so much for listening to the Powerhouse Radio and also to Let's Gripe. We thank you so much. We're going to bring it as much as we can. 2022, we're looking forward for a fabulous year, and we are wishing you and your family a very, very prosperous new year, 2022. No matter what odds come, just fight it. You know, I'm a believer, so have faith that the will be done. We're not going to preach. We're not going to take you to church, but you know, I got to always put him in everything that I do. So with that being said, it's 7:59. Hey, McKenna, you got any shout outs? You want to go and close the show out?
Yeah, you know, we'll do some birthday shout outs. So we want to make sure we acknowledge all of our December birthdays. We didn't get a chance to do that. We've already shouted out Dr. Martin Luther King on his birthday. Next week, there'll be 2 more. I don't remember them off the top of my head, so I don't want to forget them. And also, we didn't talk about the pandemic that's ongoing. So we just want to say in closing, just do what we've been doing this past 18, 19, 22 months. We don't really have to have the conversation because we know what to do. We know to wear our masks. We know to avoid heavily congested and crowded places. We know to wash our hands when we get in the house and not touch our face. So just stay safe and keep doing those things that you've been doing to stay safe. And if you do catch it, take care of yourself and don't expose to the best of your ability it to anybody else. And just take that time it takes to recover. So we wish everybody wellness and prosperity in this new year. And we look forward to some new peach corner letters, and just seeing what's happening out here in this world. And we'll definitely be reporting it from our perspective. Thanks again for tuning into the Powerhouse Radio. Don't forget to listen to our Mother's Day on Powerhouse Radio.
Home and you feeling kind of tired. Radio play the
Good
same.
night, everyone.
Switch in your life. Got you jammed up every night.
See you next week, McKenna.
Wednesday 7 to 9. You need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? When you need something to just ride to on the go, or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.